Hello friends, this is tutorial number 59 in this Turbo Pascal programming language tutorials. In this tutorial we will talk about inheritance and how can we create records inside the records. It will be inheritance of records and I will show you how it will gonna work. Nothing complicated, and I think that you will like it. First, let's create one record. Let's create type, and we will create a vehicle. It will be a record, and it will have a couple of fields. It will have brand, which will be string. Model, which will be a string, color, which will be also string, performance will be an integer, and it will have a number of the chassis. Which will be string. This will be our record of vehicle. And now what we want to do? We want to create another record which will be truck. And in the previous tutorial we type again, but I think that we don't need to type it again. We have a type, and I think the only one should be enough. But let's create a record which will be truck. And we need a couple of fields, but first what we want to do. Truck is a vehicle, we already know that, and we want to use all of these fields, and we want to expand with for example 1 or 2 extra fields. Will we type brand string, model string, but we want to use all of these fields for our truck. No, we don't need to write again. We will just type which will be a vehicle. And now if we want to extend it, we will just write a fields. We want payload, which will be an integer, and we need a number of wheels, which will be also an integer, and this is our truck. Pretty much simple. This is a record. Inside this record truck we have a record vehicle. This is inheritance of record. Maybe if you work with Java, for example, you know how, or C++, you saw if you watch some of these my tutorials, you remember of the inheritance, and this is some kind of inheritance in Turbo Pascal. And of course we can create another record. We will create a car. Car is also vehicle, and let's create it here. Car, which will be also a record, but let's go down a little. And let's create the fields. Of course, we want to use all of these fields of the vehicle, and we will write vehicle, and we need to extend it at least for the one field. It will be acceleration from, but I don't know if I can. It will be acceleration. It can be acceleration to from 0 to 100, but we can. It will be acceleration, and we will call it. It will be an integer. Or maybe it is better to be, it can be acceleration, or it can be maximum speed. We will left, but acceleration will be real. It is better to be real. It is acceleration from 0 to 100. It will be acceleration time. It is better. And this is our record of car. And now what we need to do, we will need to create, let's create a begin and end of our application, and we will create a read line. But we will need couple of variables. Let's create one truck. Truck 1, or can be T1, which will be truck. And let's create variable C1 and C number 2. We will create two cars, which will be a car. And we will not use array. And now what we want to do, we want to print it, to scan it, and we will need to create a procedure. Procedure will be truck scan, and we will have variable T, which will be a truck. But in the previous tutorials I use this with, but just a second, first I need begin and end of the procedure. In the previous tutorials I use, when I use with T-do, we don't need to, if we write T here, we don't need to write it again. But now we will not. I will not write it. This procedure with T-do. No. Let's use. We will do without it. I just want to show you when you need to write it and when you don't need to write it. And let me just write. We have. But we need. This is a vehicle. We need to write these fields. How we gonna do that? I will show you the difference. We will just write a line. First we need a brand, as a text. And what we need to do now, we don't have with t do, we need to have to write a t, but this is first it's we have a v, which is vehicle. We need to write v dot t dot brand. Because the first field is first field is a vehicle, but vehicle has its own fields. And now let's continue with this, and we need a right line, and it will be model, and the next step will be v dot t dot model. And let me see the next field. Okay, we have color, performance, and number of the chassis. Right line. It will be color, and here in the model we need a space, and now we need a V, which is a vehicle, but not, I think this is a the first we need to type, because truck is a T, it is a T dot V dot brand. It's my mistake, and here also t dot v dot model, because first is a truck dot, and we have t is a truck and v is a vehicle, but this v is inside of this record of truck. And now color will be t dot v dot color. But this is the first and the last time when we do this with this way. But I just want to show you what we have to do and what we don't have to do when we use with t do. And performance, we have a performance, and it will be t dot v dot performance. And we have the number of the chassis, and we will have t dot v. It's not comma, it's a dot v dot, but let me just, I can just copy this field. And this is the procedure for the truck scan. Okay, as I told you in the previous tutorials, I used another begin and end, and with, for example, in this case would be with truck do, and I should print the fields. But okay, this is the vehicle, but we need, I forgot, this is inheritance. This truck has two more fields. This is just for the vehicle. And let's scan the truck. We have payload, and let's write it, right line, payload, and we need to use t.payload. The point is when we have another with t do, we don't need to write this t. This is that I want to show you. I will show you the difference, but it will work. But here, instead of pet load, it's a payload, and we have write a line, and we will write the number of wheels. Just a second. The number of wheels and let me but we need to write t. And this is the procedure for the track scan. This is complete. And now let's create a procedure. We need to create another procedure. It will be car scan. And we will have variable c, which will be car. And let's create begin and end of this procedure. And we will write with c do. And we will again need begin and end. And this is the better way, because now in the previous tutorials I write, but in this case we don't need to write C. We can use just the fields. And let me write. These fields are the same. First 5 fields are from the vehicle. We have a brand, and we will just use the brand. We don't need to write c.brand because we write it here, and this is the better way. And we will not. The point is, it will work if we write c.brand. It will work, but we don't need to write it because we write it here, and it will be only a brand. But this is a vehicle and it needs to be V. Because the first part is a vehicle and we need to type V. And for all of these fields, let me write again. Right line. Now we will have a model. And it will be a v.model. We need to write v because this is a part because this is all of this vehicle part, all of these fields of vehicle we need to write as a v dot fields, because this is an inheritance. And now let me write another color, and we will have v dot color. Now we will need a performance, and we will need v.performance. and we will need just a second, the number of the chassis. Just a second. Now to write a number of the chassis, it is better to copy and paste it from here. It will be a better solution. Okay, we have the number of the chassis, and we will just copy it from here, but we will just need V and the number of the chassis, because all of these fields are parts of the vehicle. But you see the difference. The both procedures will work, but here we don't need to write this with C do. It means that we don't need to write a C, and this is that procedure. I use it in the previous tutorials. I write here with C do, and I also write, but the point is we don't have to do it. Now we need one more field. It is acceleration time. But we don't, it can be only acceleration, because we will just write it here. We will write what is it. Acceleration from 0 to 100 km/h, and we will just use acceleration. We don't need C, because and of course we don't use V, because we only use for the when we have inheritance. We have this vehicle, and we need inside when we have inheritance, we need to define all of these fields, and this is this field of acceleration. It is just field for the car, and when we have acceleration, we write only acceleration without C, because and what I write it, just a second. I write acceleration here when I well in the truck instead of car, but let me cut this, and I will write it here. Because we already have this with C do, and we don't need to write C another time. Now we remember that. Now what we will do, we will need to create one truck and two cars, and let's do it. Let us create a truck, and we already have a variable. Just a second. It's T1. We will write with T1 do, and now we will need begin and end. And let's define the fields. We need a brand. Brand will be Iveco. Model will be Turbo Zeta. It's It's used a lot in my country. I really hope that you know that good little truck. Color, it will be, it can be blue. And performance, will be 100. And let's write the number of the chassis. But we forgot, because this is a part of the vehicle. We need to use V. Just a second. It's not complicated inheritance, but we just can't forget these things, and we will now need V dot, but I will not write number of the chassis again. It is better to and easier to copy and paste. We can also prevent we can have a syntax error, and in this large name of the fields it is easier to create some syntax error. I don't know, we will just this will be number of the chassis, it doesn't matter. And now we will need the fields. We have a payload, and this is payload. This is not a part of the vehicle. It's a part of the truck. Will be 3,500, and we have a number of wheels. Just a second. Here it is, number of wheels. We don't need to write a T because we write T1 because we write him here. Number of wheels, it will be, I don't know how many wheels, but I will type 14. It's a truck. And we created our truck. And let's create a car. With car 1 do. And now we will need begin and end. And again we need to write these fields, but we can use it from the truck, just these 5 fields. It will be easier, and we will just change the values. Just a second. Okay, we have a brand model. Brand can be Fiat, model can be Punto, color will be white, performance, I don't know how much performance can be 60. We will just create another number of chassis, doesn't matter, but it needs to be different. And we have acceleration. Acceleration will be, I don't know, 7.5. I don't know how much is acceleration for the Fiat Punto. And let's create we have another more car. Let's create another car, will be car 2, and let's change it a little. Ford, it will be Mondeo. Color will be red. Performance, I don't know, can be 70. Let's change this a little. But we will use caps lock. It's enough, and 6.4 will be acceleration. But we just need to change one thing here. We have in acceleration, where is the acceleration is a real number, and we need to acceleration 2.4, and we will write it just with one decimal. 2.4, 2.1, because this is a real number, and I think this is good, but we went too much down. Now what we want to do, we define our records, and now let's call the procedures. Let's call first we will use track scan. And we will use T1, which is our track. And first let me compile this to see where are the errors. Car 1, I think, just a second, I think to know, we use car 1 and car 2, but we created variables just C1 and C2. Okay, it will be C1, and here it will be C2. Now let's compile again. Okay, now it's good, and let's try to run this application. It should scan our track, and here is our track. Brand Iveco, model Turbo Zeta, color is blue, performance 100, the number of the chassis, we have a payload, and we have the number of wheels, which is perfect thing, and we have our track. As you can see, all these first 5 fields are inheritance. This is a fields from the record vehicle, and our record track is extended with 2 fields, payload and the number of the wheels, and we have complete our record of track, which is perfect. And now I don't know, but I will see. Maybe it's better to comment now this track. And now let's call the procedure car scan, and we will C1, and we can, but first between them we will separate it a little with couple of stars. We can use one more, or one should be enough. Okay, we will use stars again, and let's call the procedure car scan. It will be our second car, and let me see what we will get. Let me clear this, and now let me run this procedure. And okay, it's good, but we need we have our cars. Fiat Punto color is white, performance is 60, the number of the chassis, and acceleration from 0 to 100, which is perfect. And we have our another car, Ford Mondeo, color is red, performance is 17. But just let me just expand this a little. It will be better. Now let me clear this and let's run again. Now it's pretty much better. Of course I can use two stars more, but okay, it's enough. But it is pretty much better. We have two cars that we created, and this is and I really hope that you know now how inheritance works. And I just wanted to show you. We will pass it again. We created our record, which is a vehicle, and our truck is a record, and this V, which is a vehicle, that means that this truck extends this record truck extends this record, which is vehicle, and it has all of these fields. And it of course has two more extra fields, payload and number of wheels. And with the car, this record of car is the same situation. It extends these 5 fields, and it has two extra fields, and this is a car. It has just one more extra field, which is acceleration. And we create the procedures to scan this truck and car, and I show you the difference. If you want to write when you have a variable truck, which is a T, you need to write t.brand, t.model. But when you have to do T when you don't have another, if you want to prevent to write T, you will write another begin and then with T do. But this way you need to write because it extends a record vehicle. And as you can see, when we have this we have a C, which is a car, and with C do. When we write a C here, we don't need to write it anymore, but we need to write a V for the fields of vehicle, because car is extending a vehicle. But what can we do more here? Now you will ask me, but can we extend these records, or can we extend a car, or can we extend a truck? And my response will be a positive. Of course we can, and I will show you quickly. It will be trailer truck, which will be our record, and we will but now we will not use a vehicle. We will just use a truck. But it will be T. And we will have a field payload of the payload of the trailer, which will be an integer. And it's enough. We will write and we have our trailer truck, and we have here, let's create variable. We will have variable tt1, and it will be trailer truck. And now let's create a trailer truck. First let me find, but the point is now that we will need a procedure for the trailer truck, but let me just create a procedure. I will copy this for the car. Maybe it will be better. It will be trailer truck scan, and it will have TT, which will be trailer truck. And we have these fields: brand, model, color, performance, the number of the chassis, but we don't have acceleration. Just a second, I will clear it. Let me see, where is the truck? Truck has a payload and the number of wheels. It is now, we will write it from, we will copy and paste it from here. Just a second. But here we will here we will have TT, and we don't need to write TT, but we will need this t.payload and t. Number of wheels. We will need it because inside we have a vehicle and we have a truck, and here this T will stay. The only one situation we just need to write now, but I just forgot which is our field. Trailer truck, we have payload of the trailer. And let's write it. Payload of the trailer and we just need that field. Now we don't need to write, we will just need, but where it is, it's here. Payload of the trailer. We don't need to write TT. Because we write it here. And this is the procedure for trailer truck scan. And now we just need to define our trailer truck. It's just a second, it's TT1. But let me copy this T1. I will copy it and let me here below the car 2 I will paste it, and we have T1. Instead of T1 will be T1. It will be a trailer truck. And let's create one trailer truck. Now we need the brand. It can be MAN. Model, I don't know model, but we will just write cargo. Let's color can be gray, and I don't know, performance. It can stay the number of the chassis. Okay, let's create some number of the chassis. Payload, we will write 10,000. Number of wheels, we will just put 20. And we need one payload of the trailer. But here also we will need, because this is these two, payload and number of wheels, this is a fields of the truck. And also what we need a payload of the trailer. And it will be I don't know, 5,000. And now let me just it's okay, but let me compile this to see if everything will work properly. Okay, instead of let me it will be just a second. Let's compile again. We have an error. But maybe just a second. T dot v dot brand. Now let me, it doesn't work. Yes, just a second, because it is a truck. We need now to write both of them. It will need T dot v, it is a truck and vehicle. We have this error, and here also we will need T dot v dot number of chassis. Okay, it's a little bit complicated, but here we just need T dot payload, and here we just need a T. And but let me, I think here also will be the same. Here we need to type T dot v dot brand and truck and vehicle and truck and vehicle again and truck and vehicle and truck and vehicle, and here will be, but I didn't. This is a truck. I need to change it in a trailer truck. Just a second. I need to change it in trailer truck in TT1. Okay, it needs to be here. Here will be T.v.brand, and here will be T.v.model, and here will be T.v also here, and also here, and rest should be fine. Now let me just compile it. Okay, now it works. And did I call this? I didn't call. First I will just let me comment this all, these cars. I will comment it all, and I will show the I will call the procedure trail. I think the trail truck scan. It knows to be a little complicated, but this is the inheritance. And let me clear this all. And let's did I compile? Okay, straight. It's not the name of the procedure, and let me. What's the name of procedure? Trailer truck scan. And let me. And what did I write? I will see it now. Just a second. Oh, it doesn't matter. Let me just use copy and paste to prevent syntax error. Trailer truck scan, and let's call TT1, and let me compile this. It works, and now we will do if we. And here is our trailer truck. It's MAN and it's cargo, it's gray, performance, and the number of the chassis. These first 5 fields are the fields from the class of vehicle, and we have a payload and the number of wheels. Because this trailer truck extends truck with which a record truck and the record truck contains the vehicle, and you see this in inheritance, and the only field of the trailer truck is a payload of the trailer, which is 5000. Okay, as you can see, it knows to be a little bit complicated. Okay, now it's for me because I didn't use it sometime, this inheritance, but as you can see, it works. Let me just go back. As you let's describe once again and explain this trailer truck. We have a record of vehicle which has these 5 fields, and we have a record truck that extends this vehicle, and it has these 5 fields and extend it with 2 more extra fields, and this is a record truck. But this trailer truck, it extends this truck, and this means that it has all of these fields of the vehicle and all of these fields of the truck. You see, vehicle, it has all of these 5 fields and all of the fields of the truck, which is 7, and it has 1 more extra field, payload of the trailer. And I also forgot it, but now when we have procedure for the trailer truck, when we use these fields of the vehicle, we need to use T, which is a truck, and V, which is a vehicle, and we writing a brand. And also for all of these fields that from the class truck that are from the record truck and that contains record vehicle, we need to use T.V. And now when we have these fields, this is for the first 5 fields. For the second 2 fields, we have a payload, and when we write it, this is payload. It contains only a record truck. We are writing T.payload, and also for the number of wheels, we are writing T.number of wheels. And here, payload of the trailer, it's a field of the trailer truck, and because we write TT here, we don't need to write TT in any of these fields. We are just writing payload of the trailer, and we will have our truck. Let's debug it once more, but let me see here the field where we created. And the same thing we are doing when we creating because trailer truck extends a truck, and a truck extends a vehicle. When we have a brand, we are writing T.V, T, which is a truck, V, which is a vehicle, and we have a brand and define a brand. All of these fields we are writing T.V because truck and vehicle. When we have fields that contains only record truck, we are just using a T. t.payload and t.number of wheels, and payload of the trailer, it is just a field that contains a trailer truck. A little bit complicated, but just you can practice this a little, and it will be pretty much easy. It's not a big thing. For me, of course, I didn't use it some time, and it was just a little complicated to remember how it goes, but now it is, for me, it's fine, perfectly fine, and it will be for you. I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You have a link in the description, and I will see you in the next tutorial.